So in this presentation, we'll be discussing the development of a zinc catalyst for intermolecular hydroamination. So hydroamination as a reaction with amines is very important because it can create proteins that can be used throughout any medical research and various uses. The other methods other than hydroamination are extremely long and create various waste and byproducts that are not very desirable. So the hydroamination is a lot more preferable as a reaction. The addition of the nitrogen and hydrogen bond across a carbon-carbon multiple bond is what creates these amines. And so three of many reasons that hydroamination is a more sought after reaction is from high atom economy, which is where you use most reactants and get most products without having to add too many side reactants in. And they're mostly all single-step reactions, and they produce low amounts of waste.
So hydroamination is currently used to synthesize these amines. The current ways that they're used to do it are typically intermolecular. It's a little easier to do and much more studied. Those techniques also use precious metals and late transition metals. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to develop a method that cuts down on that waste by cyclization of the molecule. The reason that we're trying to do this is because using those types of metals is very toxic and very expensive, as well as only works on very specific substrates. So the efforts for new hydroamination research is trying to use first transition metals such as copper, zinc, and iron. They're cheaper and easier to handle, but that work is still almost entirely intramolecular. And like I said, the challenge with these intramolecular reactions is that they're very, very specific and can only be done in very specific conditions. So what we're looking at is intermolecular hydroamination. This has not been nearly as widely studied or published. And what has been published is limited to a very, very narrow range of reactants containing activated alkenes. And so we're trying to develop new methods for this type of reaction.
And so one thing Colin had mentioned in the previous slide was activated alkenes. And so alkenes is what group of carbon-carbon double bonds has been mostly studied. But in my research, I'm inching towards allenes, which is the carbon in the center of two carbon-carbon double bonds, which is a lot more highly reactive and tends to have a better rate of success through its reactions. All right, and this is currently what I'm working on through my synthesis of the catalyst we are trying to make. The first two reactions at the top are what I've done, and the other two are what I aim to do in next semester, hopefully. So the first two that I've done have just been replacing certain groups. So adding a tosylate ion or a tosylate to group to the and replacing the hydrogen from the alcohol group, and then adding an amine to it, which you can see the tosylate ion in the top right corner. And this is just to start adding the amine groups, and then the third step will add a second amine, or technically an amine, right? Amine group. Okay, an amine group, and then adding our zinc metal eventually to create the catalyst with the zinc in it. and hopefully looking into a more safe option with adding zinc rather than using dimethyl zinc, because dimethyl zinc is extremely dangerous as a reactant. And then this is the reaction I had on the 2 slides ago with the alene, but as a catalyzed reaction. And so the final product is what you see all the way on the right. And hopefully that will be a successful reaction that I have sometime in the future.
So what I've been working on is designing a new catalyst that uses those alkenes. I'm trying to use zinc to create a new ligand that looks somewhat similar to this one here with a sulfonyl group. I want that sulfonyl group on there because it's a great leaving group and it's also hydrogen bonding. I'm following up on the work done by Ethan de Blasio, which looked for this amine with a sulfonyl group. He was unsuccessful, however, because he was only able to produce this bisligated species over here, which once it becomes bisligated is completely catalytically inactive and therefore useless for anything that we want to do with it. This is what he was intending to make, but it just did not work. So what we're trying to do is try to use a bigger R group to not allow that molecule to become bisligated due to its steric clash. So what I've done currently is basically followed a very similar technique to what Ethan was doing, however using this larger molecule to just try and see once I add that zinc if it will be monoligated or bisligated. This is just an NMR of the last step that I've gotten to, or the last clear NMR that I've gotten. I've done a little more than this. But it just shows that we are successful in adding both of these groups on there, which is a great step in this process. So, what this project is going to do next is we're going to use this that I have created with the dimethyl zinc to hopefully create the monoligated structure seen here, and as well as look at some intramolecular hydroamination of the same compound. Because like I said earlier, that is much easier. So hopefully if that works, we can see if it will work intermolecularly. If this does not work, if it still is bisligated, we'll try different R groups, probably trying to make it a bulkier species. So thank you. This is the people and the places that have helped us out throughout this. Do you guys have any questions?